Всім привіт! Мене звати Дар'я Добричева і я астрофізикиня. Нарешті я змонтувала відео про свою поїздку в Трієст восени 24-го року. Я була з робочим візитом в інституті СІСа. Але перш ніж ми перейдемо до робочих моментів, трошки про Трієст. Він такий гарний. Гори, море, архітектура і смачна кухня. Тут треба ще сказати, оскільки Трієст довгий час був частиною Австро-Угорської імперії, можна побачити поєднання італійської, словенської, австрійської культури. Найбільш всього це помітно в архітектурі, яка нагадує Відень. Мій візит до Трієсту припав на сезон, коли тут панує вітер Бора. Не очікувала цього. Я дізналась про це по факту. Це сильний і холодний вітер, що дме з північного сходу, спускається різко з гір до моря і є характерним для цього регіону. Місцеві жителі звикли до такої погоди, але для мене це було неймовірний досвід. Бора додала такої атмосферності прогулянкам по місту. І шапка тут просто дуже знадобилась. Але прогулянок було небагато, оскільки велику частину часу я провела в інституті за спілкуванням з колегами. Тож, інститут СІСа – International School for Advanced Students – один із провідних наукових центрів Європи, заснований в 1978 році. Він розташований на пагорбах неподалік Трієста, звідки відкривається вражаючий вид на місто та Адріатичне море. СІСа спеціалізується на передових дослідженнях в галузях фізики, математики та нейронаук, об'єднуючи вчених з усього світу. Інститут славиться своєю міжнародною спільнотою, яка сприяє обміну знаннями, ідеями. Тут часто проводяться лекції та семінари за участю провідних науковців, і я мала честь бути однією з таких гостей. Викладання і дослідження в СІСі ведуться англійською мовою, що є стандартами для багатьох європейських наукових установ. Інститут підтримує тісну співпрацю з провідними міжнародними організаціями, такими як ЦЕРН, Європейське космічне агентство, а також численними інститутами. У відділі, який мене запросив, астрофізики та космології, проводяться два типи семінарів. Перший тип проводиться і організовується аспірантами, яких в Європі, так як і в багатьох країнах світу, називають PhD-студентами, тобто той, який здобуває науковий ступінь Doctor of Philosophy – PhD. На таких семінарах студенти обговорюють статті, які вони прочитали, а також діляться основними новинами зі світу науки. Я мала нагоду побувати на одному з таких семінарів і побачити, як аспіранти залучені до життя інституту. Другий тип семінару – це наукові семінари, де дослідники представляють власні наукові роботи. Саме на такому семінарі я представляла результати досліджень нашого відділу позагалактичної астрономії та астроінформатики з Головної астрономічної обсерваторії Національної академії наук. Це була б не подорож до Італії, якби я вам не розказала про їжу. Почнемо з кафетерію. В інституті тут просто неймовірно смачна їжа. Саме приміщення дуже просторе і багато місця, але в обідній час тут просто складно знайти місце, де перекусити. А ще хочу сказати, що Трієст вважається столицею кави в Італії, адже тут знаходиться штаб-квартира відомої кавової компанії Іллі. Пару слів про професора Карла Бачігалуппі. Він фантастична людина. Ми познайомились на святкуванні 80-річчя нашої обсерваторії в Києві. Він спеціалізується в області космології, зокрема вивченні раннього всесвіту, космічно-мікрохвильового фону та темної енергії. Він настільки переживає за Україну, що вирішив сам приїхати з робочим візитом, привітати нас з ювілеєм і на власні очі побачити, як живуть українські вчені під час війни. Під час візиту в Київ він також прочитав науково-популярну лекцію в Бармен-диктаті, під час якої проводили збір на тактичну медицину для крил перемоги, де волонтерить наша науковиця Олена Компанієць.
Okay, and I have my pleasure of introducing myself. I am Carlo Baccigaluppi, and I'm a professor in the physics area at SISA, and I'm currently leading the astrophysics and cosmology group, where we engage theoretical studies, data analysis for modern cosmological and astrophysical observations. Many of them are with common interest with the main astronomical observatory in Kiev.
Hello, Carlo, and now we in your room, and can you show what is interesting in your room, please?
Okay, so thank you for coming to my room, Daria, and all of you guys that are watching this material. So we can start from the panorama. Okay, this is Sissa, the new campus of Sissa, in which we have Trieste. So on the left over there in this garden there is the Aula Magna, which is partially covered by a wall. The park is in here, and we have woods on our right and a beautiful view of Trieste from this nice location. Offices we are in the 5th floor at this point, and offices are all over the place. It's mostly facing the city. And so we get back in. And here is my room where we normally have meetings. It is quite big, so I like it very much. And what I can say, I have no. It's very much disorder. As basically it is normal for scientists, because we have opportunities, activities, discussion, etc. And so we have Illy coffee, as you see, esatto, and we have my tower for power. And the 2 desks, which are used for two desks for guests and meetings, a little fridge. Yeah, and my blackboard, in which we see the completely disordered concepts. So we still like, in the era of computers, artificial intelligence, etc. Taking notes is still something that makes us focusing very much. So we keep drawing our ideas, throwing our ideas in some blackboard. And for the rest, we see this little storage here with my books from the universities and the ones that I've been studying after the universities. This part here is very disordered, but it contains several records of my life, in particular very beautiful moments, like being in the Barman Diktat in Kiev, in Ukraine, 2 times, and I'm sure whenever I come to Kiev, I go in the Barman Diktat.
You had a lecture, yeah.
Yeah, and I had a public lecture there. Plus many other things from my students, in particular the ones that are in India or in China or in Japan, and these are the parts that you see in the back. In particular, I should put everything in order, but in particular you see the PhD thesis that I've been supervising over there, and that's it basically. And this is my main location with the snapshots of my kids and my nephews. And here are my kids with the George Smoot, Nobel Prize for Physics in 2006. And I should also decorate a bit the room. For now we have only one image of the first light of the low frequency instrument for the Planck satellite. And I should put more records of happy moments in my research life.
Okay, Carlo, what are the main astronomical fields in Sissa?
Okay, so the astrophysics and cosmology group at Sissa is composed by about 40 people. Half of that are PhD students, so a quarter of that are postdoctoral researchers, and another quarter is permanent staff. So each of the permanent staff, together with the students and postdocs, lead one of the research area that we have in astrophysics and cosmology nowadays. Okay, and you find those the description of those in our website, but I can summarize them here very quickly. So we have the ambition of covering several aspects. So we basically go from physical cosmology, which is my area of research, the analysis of astrophysics and cosmological data sets, gravitational waves, astrochemistry, the search for complex molecules in the universe, galaxy formation and evolution, active galactic nuclei and high-energy astrophysics, dark matter, stellar physics, and large-scale structure and the early universe, and astrophysical and cosmological gravitational waves. So each of those areas is pursued by doing team works, team research, in which a little team made of PhD students, postdocs, and staff members is done facing each of these so open issues about in these areas of research, both in small groups doing theoretical investigations, but also taking responsibilities of the analysis of data sets in cosmological and astrophysical observations, which are now ongoing. And the last aspect I want to stress is that these areas of investigations are not isolated and pursue the research in an isolated manner, but there is a lot of crosstalk between each other. And so for PhD supervisions, we only do co-supervisions at CISA because each of these topics is very much connected to several others. And so there is a lot of crosstalk and collaboration within the group.
What are the space mission maybe CISA involved in?
So the investment of our research into space mission is a strategic attitude of our group in particular at CISA. And it started not with me, but with intuition of my mentors like Gianfranco De Zotti in Padua and Luigi Danese here in Padua and here at CISA, which engaged one of the first big cosmological missions in space, which was the Planck satellite, which took data between 2009 and 2014 mainly for the observations of the cosmic microwave background, the one that was foreseen by George Gamov in Odessa in Ukraine, and mapping essentially the total intensity anisotropies of the structure of the temperature of the black body in our universe. On the basis of this, and thanks now to my contribution, CISA is engaging in other space missions, like the Euclid satellite, which is completely different in terms of targeted area of investigations and instruments. Of course, it is designed to do the three-dimensional, the best three-dimensional map of half of the observed universe, mapping tens of billions of galaxies and with the photometric redshift precision, and a subsample several millions with spectroscopic precision, okay, investigating the large-scale structure of the universe, the dark matter, the dark energy, galaxy formation and evolution, etc. But CISA is also engaging in several targeted observations for the JWST, the James Webb Space Telescope, which is already present. Euclid and the James Webb Space Telescope, which is observing very distant galaxies, are nowadays operating. They are in space, they are taking data, and CISA is engaging in the analysis of these objects from the history of galaxy formation and evolution for the JWST, and for the cross correlation with cosmic microwave background for Euclid. But that's not all. CISA is engaging into the ultimate satellite observations of the cosmic microwave background polarization for the next decade. The LIPER satellite, led by Japanese Space Agency, which is supposed to try to catch the imprint of cosmological gravitational waves in the cosmic microwave background polarization.
Maybe you say unique of CISA, maybe highlighted some specific theme or specific theme what CISA do.
Okay, thank you for this interesting question. The purpose of special schools in Italy is to complement the mission that is brought forward by the system of universities, with some peculiarities. Okay, so I can quote two of them, and I can quote the main mission of CISA is to high education, to take master students, engage in an ambitious PhD program, and then create out of them young researchers. That's the main mission of CISA, training young researchers during the 3 or 4 years PhD studies. That's the main mission and the peculiarity, because normally big universities in Italy, they have also master students, bachelor students. CISA has only PhD students. So to be agile and to be complementing the rest of the system in academy in Italy to specialize the high education for PhD students. That's one thing. The second apparatus is represented by the research which is carried out at CISA. So there are now 3 areas hosting several PhD courses, but they are represented by physics, which hosts 7 PhD courses running from condensed matter to astrophysics and cosmology, astroparticle, data science, statistical physics, statistical and biological physics, and it should be all, and mathematics and neuroscience. So there is a huge interdisciplinary in CISA because of this setup. Just to give you an example, there is a discussion between the physics, astrophysics and cosmology, and neuroscience to engage the research in astrobiology, for example. The formation of life in the universe, very popular, very interesting, really beautiful. That's not something that we can do as astrophysics and cosmology only, but we have to engage, to discuss with our colleagues in neuroscience. So these 2 aspects, training PhD students to become young researchers and the complementarity of disciplines at CISA, represent the main features of the school.
When you told about the space mission, you said about international organization with which CISA have a collaboration. Maybe you say about more international collaboration if you have, and maybe about the memorandum of understanding maybe you have with another country or organization.
So thank you again for this question. So basically the internationality of research in many areas, in particular in astrophysics and cosmology, is something which is unavoidable. I personally don't know something which couldn't be international in research in astrophysics and cosmology nowadays. The question is how do you guys manage this internationality? No, it's a very interesting question, because it's also how strategically we engage with international collaborations. Just to give you an example, the Euclid satellite is represented by 1,000 people in the consortium. Now they do many different things: strong gravitational lensing, dark energy modeling, so cross correlation with the cosmic microwave background. How do we engage into this international context? Okay, so the choice of CISA that I'm trying to bring forward is to not only to be part of the international collaboration. It's always good, but it's even better to match this being part of the international collaboration with the main mission of CISA, which is training PhD students. So the training of PhD students in international collaborations doesn't come without visibility of the PhD student. Okay, so we get to international collaborations like a satellite, for example, like a telescope in Atacama, the Simons Observatory, for example. We have together with space missions, we have big missions observing from the ground. And we say, okay, now we guys, we want to help the research in this field. We have resources in terms of brains, PhD students, postdocs, and staff members, and we think that this particular problem can be we can be useful in solving it. So we take responsibility of providing a data analysis algorithm, studying a problem, providing models that we build internally to CISA, and we deliver to the collaboration. Okay, of course with optimizations, iterations, etc., etc. In this way, we are very much international in terms of engaging of the international collaborations, but at the same time, the postdoctoral researchers or the students which are bringing forward, building those algorithms, those models, obtaining the results, they have the visibility they require to engage and to be independent later, to find also jobs in this system.
I know because you was in Ukraine and we are so happy to saw you in Kyiv, and I heard that you talk with Jacek, our director, about signing the memorandum of understanding with the CISA or Italy and Ukraine, or how it's work.
Okay, so together with engaging in observations based on instruments at the international level, we also have international collaborations between institutions. So we wanted to have collaborations with Ukraine in particular, because we want to involve countries together which are very close to Europe and hopefully very soon in Europe, okay, to engage the research that we do. So we wanted since years to come to Ukraine and to involve, to talk about possible agreements or memorandum of understandings for engaging in common research. No? So when in this historical period, in which we are facing dramatic malfunctions by certain nations, we thought that was really the best moment to come and start this discussion. So I was honored to visit the main astronomical observatories in Kiev and start discussions. So in October 2023 and in July 2024 to start discussions on these agreements. And these visits, these interviews are part of these mounting agreements. How do we do those? Basically, we prepare written agreements, which usually they are basically letters of intent, in which we say, okay, CISA has interested in studying this particular aspect in astrophysics and cosmology. Could be an example, galaxy formation and evolution. The main astronomical observatory in Kiev is studying machine learning algorithms in galaxy formation and evolution. So we will collaborate across the next couple of years for exchanging students, visiting mutual visit to institutions in order to carry out this research. And those memorandum of understandings are signed by our directors, and then they become operational. So we have with several institutions. We are working to create one also with the main astronomical observatory in Ukraine and other institutions.
What's the main project currently you involved?
Okay, so thank you for this question, and I can say the following. I'm an experienced cosmologist, not to say that I'm old, let's say. So I'm experienced, no? So if you go on our site and you look at the research that I'm leading, it's called physical cosmology. What does it mean, physical cosmology? It means that cosmology, the global picture of cosmology nowadays, is not done by a single observation, a single set of data, a single theoretical investigation, but it's done by the combination of several probes. So I'm following at this moment, together with other professors, postdoctoral researchers and students at CISA, the following projects. So the two main ones which are ongoing are represented by the Simons Observatory, which is an observatory in Atacama, in the desert, 5,000 meters, and in Chile, and it is observing the cosmic microwave background polarization, again to try to find any glimpse of cosmological gravitational waves. That's very much international and privately funded by the Simons Foundation plus NSF funding, and that is one thing. The other major project in which I'm involved is the Euclid satellite, for which is flying nowadays, taking data on the 3D system of galaxies. In a couple of years, we'll have this marvelous three-dimensional reconstruction of the location of galaxies in the universe. And there I've been coordinating for 12 years one of the 8 working groups in Euclid, which was dedicated to the cross-correlation of the cosmic microwave background as observed by the Simons Observatory or Planck or other probes, and large-scale structure. Because it's very interesting. There are many repercussions on the study on dark energy and dark matter from studying that cross-correlation. And then I'm also working on the preparation of the projects which are coming in the next decade, which are the LIGHTBIRD satellite, which will be the 4th satellite observing the cosmic microwave background, and dedicated again to the cosmological gravitational waves, and the CMB Stage 4, which is a system of detectors, probably from Atacama, telescopes which include but expand the Simons Observatory.
So good, nice. What about the biggest challenge in modern astronomy? Or you are working in cosmology, maybe the biggest challenge in the cosmology.
Okay, thank you again for this question. Well, say astrophysics and cosmology in general is a very fertile area in physics at this moment, in science as a whole, I would say, because the instruments are getting more mature. We have capabilities of launching observation satellites into space. We are placing telescopes on the ground. So in basically any area of research, we have open challenges and main targets of our investigation. I can quote the ones which belong to cosmology, to my activity, but also some others. So the ones that belong to my activities are the following. So the probes that I was quoting, observing the cosmic microwave background on the side and a large-scale structure on the other side. They basically try to study basically 2 big open problems in cosmology, which are represented by the physics of the early universe, because we know the data that we have now are favoring this accelerated expansion in the early universe, which is called inflation. Now, in order to have a further confirmation of that, we would need to detect the gravitational waves that were emitted at that time. And the inflation is inflation, so extends wavelengths. So we expect to find those gravitational waves on cosmological wavelengths, hundreds of millions of light years. And so that should be leaving the imprint on the cosmic microwave background polarization. So that's one big challenge. And the second one is represented by the dark cosmological components. At this moment, the universe is mostly dark for us. So we have very good descriptions of the dark cosmological components. One is the matter, supposed to form halos around galaxies, and the other one is the energy, supposed to imprint the cosmic acceleration in the expansion of the universe lately, but we have no idea what they are. So the Euclid satellite is in particular dedicated to investigate this business. Now, these are only some of the goals that I personally pursue, these ones in cosmology nowadays. But in astrophysics and cosmology we have many. For example, one that is very important nowadays is the search for life in nearby systems. That the recent studies on exoplanets are actually making it possible to carefully investigate how life can be originated on a planet similar to Earth. So the so-called astrobiology. That's a super popular part. Another challenge that I see is that in any aspects of astrophysics and cosmology we have lots of information that human beings are very happy to process, but maybe it's good to have companions in these studies provided by artificial intelligence, which may cooperate with us to handle enormous data sets that by ourselves it would be taking much longer to analyze.
Now I have some interesting question because, for example, I work with SDSS and this telescope gives to us 200 gigabyte data per night, but the next generation different telescope, for example, LSST, give to us 20 terabytes data. What do you think? Have we enough astronomer or cosmologists to calculate all this data?
Okay, thank you for this question. That is not only something which is happening in large-scale structure, but also in the cosmic microwave background, in astrophysics and astrobiology, in astrochemistry, in gravitational waves. We have those things. That represent the fact that the data sets are getting more complicated and enormous. So, no. Do we have enough astronomers? No. And should we have more astronomers? Yes. We should invest into jobs and researcher positions and positions everywhere, because the academic population is returning a very good sense of life and benefiting the society in many aspects. So less military, more physics, more science, okay, and I'm sure we'll get there. In the meantime, the exploitation of numerical computations in the past decades, the exploitation of the internet. Now we have even more powerful tools, which are represented by artificial intelligence. Now they represent the interface between us and numerical apparatus, computers, etc. And we can talk with these entities, and they can understand what we want as a work. They can manage various resources, and then we can supervise what's happening, and leaving to us, but also to them, the joint interpretation of things. So we should be open-minded in these aspects, and realize that we are facing big problems like the origin of life in the universe, cosmological gravitational waves. Well, let's do that with the proper tools. So let's also use powerful automated systems which may help us understanding those mysteries.
Carlos, thank you for you give me interview. I want to give you some present. Don't look on cover, plus look what's inside.
Okay.
Because
Shall I open?
Yeah, open.
Okay,
because
thank you.
I wanted to give you some souvenirs from Ukraine, and I know that you like a coffee.
Oh,
maybe this one will be the first.
Thank you.
And we have friends who make pottery with like handmade.
Yeah.
And
I
I cover it to more and more because
the owner of the Barmandik that gave me a present, which is a little Ukrainian soldier from the past that I saved in my house.
And I hope you like it.
Fantastic! I love it. I love it. I will be
And
for
this
my coffee.
is a little one for plate for these cups.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Okay, thank you, Daria. And that will be my favorite. We will be hosting many of my coffees here.
Thank you. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.
Bye.